Now, our main focus point today is about the Trump savings accounts that are in this one big, beautiful bill. And it is designed to incentivize people to have more kids, to support the new children that are born between January 1st of this year. So yes, this would include anybody who had a baby in 2025 and December 31st, 2028. So between that time frame, January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2028. Now, to qualify for this $1,000 that the Department of Treasury would deposit in a tax-preferred investment account, your child would need to be a U.S. citizen, and parents should have Social Security numbers. Parents should have Social Security numbers. Now, how does this work? Well, first is it would track some sort of an index. I would imagine it's the S&P. I'm imagining this is lobbying from BlackRock or those that are, big into the index business, which mainly would be BlackRock. And it means that it's similar to a 529 or a Coverdell education plan, but there are some differences. The main one is in a 529 or a Coverdell, you can choose your investments. This you would not. You would just track an index. And families would have the option to contribute up to $5,000 of post-tax dollars. So it's not a write-off, just like a contribution to a 529 plan. So $5,000 post-tax to build the fund. Okay. And you can make contributions up until your child is 18. But at 18, they would be eligible, the child would be eligible to withdraw half of the funds for qualified expenses, eligible expenses. And mainly that is higher education expenses or credentials. So this includes trade school type of spending, basically on education. So the good thing is it does broaden out a bit beyond just higher education. So trade schools would be good. At 25, they would have access to all the funds in that account for more eligible education expenses or to start a business. So that's kind of cool, kind of seed money for a business at 25. And then at 30, you can take it out for not only higher education, not only starting a business, but also down payment on a home. So the good news here is that it'd be kind of automatic. It would be free to start for a family, get that $1,000. And over time, you can continue to add to it, and that will give a nice nest egg for a child to pursue their dreams and maybe get a leg up on life through education, through starting a business, through down payment on a home, etc. Overall, I think it's a pretty good idea. I think there should be more ways for us to incentivize new parents because of our birth rate is very, very low in this country. And obviously, you need more people over time to grow the economy and sustain the country. Now, what about the tax implications of this? Now, first is any contributions you make to the plan, once again, are not tax deductible. Same way on 529s, but some 529s, from a state perspective, have incentives. So there could be a difference there depending on what state you live in. If you live in a state that incentivizes contributions to 529 plans. Any distributions made for qualified expenses fall under the long-term capital gains rate. So it is income, but it's long-term capital gains. But if you withdraw money for any other purpose than what's qualified, the government taxes it as ordinary income to that child, as well as an additional 10% penalty on top of it. Okay. So that's kind of the downside there, is it is taxable once the money comes out, whereas 529s, as long as you're spending it on qualified expenses, you're good there. So I still think in many ways, 529s are a bit better than this. I like the flexibility of down payment on a home and starting a business. That's great. But if I'm doing it more for education, focusing on paying for education for a child, you can put more in a 529 plan as well as it has better tax features than this type of account, and flexibility on making investments more than just tracking one particular index. And then once again, the state tax incentives if you live in a qualified state. So that was the overview of what looks like is ready to be put in place, is this one big beautiful bill. Now, this was before the Senate came in and made some changes. I'm not sure yet, based on this final ruling, right, came out today or passed today. I'm not sure how many changes have been made to this, but this is the basic framework, and we'll see how it evolves if this does get finalized.